Okay, so I have been informed by my legal team that I am obligated to read this little statement before the review can begin in earnest, so just bear with me for a sec. I hereby solemnly swear an oath that for the entire duration of this next suite, I am hereby prohibited from the following items. Item A, calling attention to how voluptuous the women in this game are. B, stupid jokes playing upon prohibited item A. And C, stupid jokes and euphemisms that might lead to prohibited items A or B. Failure to comply will result in my immediate, unceremonious, and unmourned public hanging, and since necks are 95% neck, I better, and I'm quoting the document here, watch my scaly little back. Okay, let's review Code Vein. Greetings everyone, I'm the vampire Snek, bringing to you a bit more from recent titles in this next suite, Bandai-Namco's Code Vein. Clearly wanting in on that void left behind and From Software's announcement that there will be no more Dark Souls games, Bamco leapt at this opportunity to make their own game in a similar niche, which some are dubbing a Souls-like game. I think this is a bit misleading. I think calling it a Souls-lite game might be more honest, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Welcome to the dystopian future, where vampires rule, well, what's left of the world anyway. Humans cower in fear, and political intrigue is interrupted only by the fact that a wicked miasma fills the air, driving vampires into berserk, mindless monsters called the Lost. Your character wakes up amidst this chaos, and has to find their way in the world and fight the numerous forces that await you. Your character, who you get to customize, lucky me, wakes up unexpectedly as a revenant. That's the polite society word for a vampire in this game. Whereupon you learn that your condition as a freshly revived cold cut stems from a lovely military experiment that, long story short, results in you having a hitchhiking parasite permanently chilling out inside of your heart. Upside, you regenerate from any wound provided the heart stays in one piece. Downside, you crave blood for sustenance and your memories are now scrambled eggs. Oh, and you also kick off this epic journey across the last bastions of humankind as a slave. Awesome. But you soon arm yourself and take control of your own destiny, throwing in with a friendly pack of vampires looking to make life better for those that remain. And thus, our monster slaying duties pick up in ever-increasingly insane boss fights, and more than a small bit of grinding. First of all, the game looks great. In a lot of ways, it reminds me of Bamco's other franchise, God Eater. And yes, I will get around to that at some point too, so look forward to that. With a huge sense of scale and severe ruination in major cities, it really has some similar themes. I actually turn down the tech specs when I record modern games, and it still looks good. Seriously, this is a beautiful game, and the insane level of customization you can put your character through is just awesome. Especially since you can Team Fortress 2 it and put hats on top of other hats. I love the designs in this game. The monsters look really fierce, and the weapons all have really sweet designs. I do have to ding the game on two things look-wise, though. Once you make your character, you can never adjust certain sliders ever again, including ones that weren't introduced until a post-launch patch. Thanks for that, Bamco. And second, unless you have a very lean and very plain character, most of the armors are going to clip something fierce. I know this is to be expected to some degree, and it doesn't really bug me personally, but I know it will bug some people and that I should bring it up. I'm sure I will hear about it later on if I don't. Still, solid A grade for presentation, though. And the sound is solid, too. The music is rarely what's on my mind, more on that in a second, but when I do stop to focus on it, it's quite good, as to be expected from Bamco. More impressive are the sound effects, which you'll hear a lot due to the combat-heavy nature of level progression. But it's really good stuff. The actors are all doing a great job, too, and no, I will not fault them for the game recycling their lines more than it probably should. That is not on the heads of the actors, that's the game designers. I actually like the voice cast in this game, and it benefits from their presence. Don't listen to them, Lewis. I still like you, man. Gameplay-wise, we get solid performance, particularly in my favorite department, customization. You're free to swap weapons, classes, here called blood codes, but it's literally classes in a traditional RPG, and gear pretty much on demand. This lets you quickly experiment with what works and what doesn't for your particular playstyle. As you balance the demands of gear weight, base stats, weapon proficiency, how strongly you favor your gifts or your special vampire powers, and more. My personal favorite blood code is Mercury, and I tend to favor the Spear family of weapons in the event you were curious. Getting back to the whole Souls-lite sentiment from the intro, as you destroy monsters you gather up haze. This serves as both the game's experience points and currency. Logically, this means that you can spend it to level up. Leveling up raises all of your stats per level, and since you'll be grinding a lot as you go, this will expedite matters quite a bit, especially for those who prefer trying to compensate for raw stats with their skill. Most of the game, and by that I mean literally any time you're not in the main hub, is one prolonged combat field. Broadly speaking, it's a straight line with some hidden goodies at various dead ends, but they are worth going out of your way for, not only for additional weapons and blood codes, but also for more story and characterization. When you aren't treasure hunting, you'll be, well, literally hunting, because the lost are omnipresent. You want to do this anyway, as that's how you get money and experience, like I said, but also because this is a Souls-like, and dying makes you drop all the haze you presently have on you, unless they're in item form, conveniently enough. And when you die, you just go back to the last missile that you were at, a strange white plant that grows along the world now and can purify the miasma in the air when revived, and any monsters you manage to kill respawn. Actually, resting at a missile does that too, but that's a feature, not a bug. Anyway, combat is key to this game, and it involves killing the fast enemies before they get the jump on you, and then dodging the big, clumsy guys and countering them accordingly. In fact, if you actually get really good at this, you can deal some massive critical hits. And, as an amusing aside, if the enemies fall off the cliff, they die just the same as you do, so if you can throw them off the cliff, it's an easy way of dealing with tough enemies without actually having to fight them, which is hilarious. Boss fights, meanwhile, get both these features, and you're expected to either be high enough level to cope and survive, or die enough to memorize the pattern. And since I want to talk about it anyway, and it's my video, I guess, let's hit the downsides of the gameplay next. The convention of giving you a stamina bar, and enough stamina therein to swing a one-handed sword 3 times before I need to run to the corner and catch my breath is asinine. Nothing else is inhibited by this limitation, just me. I think I could realistically swing that weapon in real life, much more fluidly than my character can in a fictional setting, and they have the benefit of being a crazy vampire creature. It just comes off as really annoying, an artificial restriction on my movement just for the sake of having it, because that's what games of this convention do. Now, to be fair, Code Vein is infinitely more fair about it than some other games are. But it is going to result in a conundrum for some, where you'll have the hardcore Dark Souls fans who will find the game incredibly easy and needlessly grindy, and then you'll have spineless nerds like me who enter the grind loop. The foundation itself is flawed, but the game is fun. In some ways, I almost feel like this would have run better as a sister franchise to God Eater. Oh, and the other issue is that multiplayer is a total crapshoot. It might as well not even be in the game, as you can't progress the story together, which would otherwise be the primary incentive to even have multiplayer in the first place. So yeah, that kind of sucks. Alright, got that out of my system. At the end of the weirdly not vampire killing day, how does it stack up? I mean, as a complete package. I got to admit, grindy or not, the game's fun. Sure, I tend to hang out and grind to make advancing more reasonable, but I do that in RPGs as a whole anyway. You'll always have options available to you to compensate for low level with sheer skill. And I adore the customization and the ability to change styles on the fly. It's an awesome feature that alleviates a lot of the above rant's problems. Overall, I'd still argue the game is good and you should pick it up next time that it goes on sale. And that's all she wrote for Code Vein. This has been the incredibly hipster Snek. If you liked what you saw today, be sure to tap that like button. And if you want more like this every week, be sure to slam those subscribe and bell icons like you are a boss monster. Leave a comment down below telling me what your favorite blood codes are. You can also follow me on the Twitters for hints about upcoming videos, or even Subscribestar for additional perks and more in the support of my battle for humankind's future. Thanks for joining me here today, and I hope that you'll keep joining me for more obscure reviews and indie excellence. And I'll see you there.